Hello, this is Fam Electric Ghost, and we have White Tuxedos on.
Yes,
Hi.
yeah, we are online. Yeah,
Yeah, we are here.
So I want to just give. I was looking at your website. So for our fans, I'm going to read from your band information page for a second, and then we can talk.
yeah, okay,
Okay, so
Yeah.
perfect.
Black and White Tuxedos is a music project born in early 2018 from the union of two Italian DJ producers. You're based in Northern Italy, and you started your careers as individual DJs, playing local discos and clubs. And then after many years of friendship and collaboration, you decided to come together and create Black and White Tuxedos. So you're saying that the project had the ambition of bringing elegance and refinement in the EDM scenario with a focus on future house music. And you concentrate your energy in this genre because you think it's perfect for dancing in a refined, sophisticated way, and you love all types of house music, and you bring these kind of characters to your stage craft, and you want to bring this style physically on the stage. So I thought that was interesting, and I was listening to your music on your page, and it's really a lot different than a lot of the music you listen to nowadays. It seems that you bring some orchestral things in, some things that that like synthesis, like myself, can appreciate because I'm a synthesizer player myself. But yeah, that's really interesting. So let me give you the floor a little bit, and I'm going to go through some questions, but maybe you can talk about your band based on what you just said.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so I'm going to start with the questions then, if that's okay. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
okay. It's
perfect
okay.
for us. Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you first get into music and realize you wanted to create your own music? And maybe each one of you can kind of talk about when you first got into it.
Okay, so we started listening to music thanks to our fathers, and when we were little kids, and then we developed a special passion for electronic music.
Yeah, we developed a special passion for electronic music, and in particular for future house music, as you read on our site. But I think that the main things that change our view in music is the raising of future house music in the last 2 years with Don Diablo. That can be for us a sort of mentor. And yes, the raising of the future house music in the EDM scenario changed our way of living the EDM.
Okay. So how long have you actually been working on doing your own music?
Well, we started as separately DJs playing in local clubs in our area, so in north of Italy, like Milan, Turin, Venice, and about 4 years ago, I think, yeah, 4 years ago, and then in May 2018, we started this kind of project, this kind of music project, Black and White Tuxedos, and we started focusing on producing our music. But yeah, we are a little bit late on producing our own music because we want to reach obviously an high level because the competition is very high in this EDM in this EDM scenario.
Scenario.
But so yeah, we
Yeah,
started last year as a Black and White Tuxedos.
yes, I've seen the music that's on your website. I actually went to your SoundCloud, but it didn't have any songs there. But your site
Oh
has
yeah, because we are still working on our own music and yeah,
okay.
we are collaborating
Yeah.
now, yes, with some others DJs, but for now we only published, yeah, mini mixes like you can see on our Mixcloud
Okay.
account. Yeah.
So when you say I know you say you're DJ, so you when you're DJing, and then you also say you're producer. So let me get into a little more detail. When you're producing music for EDM or as a producer, are you doing your own music, or are you taking a merging of multiple like genres and styles of other people's music and using CDJs to like mix it together?
No, yeah.
your own beats?
Okay, no. We think that creating the personal sounds is the most important thing to be unique. So yeah, we try to produce our own sounds, and obviously you must follow some different kind of I don't know. I'd say you must follow some DJ, some other sounds. For example, Don Diablo, Oliver Eldens in our genre. But I
Yeah.
think that building your own sound is the fundamental for a producer for that want to become an important one producer.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of what, well, I'm a musician myself, and I'm a synthesizer, analog and digital synthesizer player. So I use Moogs,
Oh yeah,
Rolands, Prophet. So I build everything from scratch from the sound design with Euro racks and everything. So the question I get, I run into artists that go that deep. They go into Euro racks, they go into analog synths, and other artists that use Pro Tools, they use, they use FL Studio, they use,
yeah. Okay.
Ableton Live. So the question is, do you use a mix of digital audio workstations
Yeah, no,
and real instruments, or are you primarily
oh
working
yeah,
audio?
no, okay, yeah, okay. No, we use both. For example, I can play guitar, and so we can use analogical instruments too, and my partner play piano.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can use analogic.
Cool.
But obviously, we as a DAW we prefer use Logic and FL Studio. And we also use plugins, Avenger, Serum, also, yeah.
Serum, Avenger, yeah.
So when you perform, do you use like CDJ?
Oh yeah.
Do you
Okay,
bring
okay, no.
Euro racks on stage? Are you primarily like CDJ with some analog equipment, or do you just go totally with
When we are live, we perform with CDJs. We use Pioneer equipment, but yeah, in live session, my partner use also a piano, a keyboard, a little keyboard to play some live.
Plugins off your off like Ableton Live and FL Studio play live and stuff. Like
Yes,
sound
we
engines
use
and stuff they
Ableton,
get
yeah.
off yeah. So this is the question, since you're producers, what do you feel about, like, there's all this talk, like, and I'm a big proponent of like analog synthesizers. I have Moogs, I have Prophets. And in this digital age, there's a lot of people that say, oh, you can just use FL Studio, you can just use Ableton. But as a musician for the last 20 years, I have a deep love for like analog and modular synths. And when I play, I actually bring them on stage. So do you have any opinions about actually using equipment like that in live settings, or do you feel that you don't?
No, I think that probably staying linked with the roots of the music can be a great idea. Yeah, the electronic music is started with synthesizer, so I think that it's good. Yes, for example, also using vinyls can be interesting.
Yeah.
But music industry is always changing, so now digital is, I think, really important for DJing. But some part of live playing can be interesting with synthesizer. For example, we use M Audio keyboard, and also Roland. We love a Roland station. Yeah.
Yeah, so I use a lot of Roland gear. I got, like, an MX1 performance mixer, and I've got JDXI, and I use a System 1M. And it's because I'm an electronic musician, I go to places like in New York where, synth wave electronic music. And there's a difference. Some people, like, you say electronic music and they just assume you're a DJ, but there are still electronic musicians that are like, play modes. They play Jupiter 8s, they play Jupiter 106s, and actually go and play in a setting with those instruments. And I don't have anything against people that go either way. There are people that merge both, or people that go one way or the other. It's just interesting today. I think there's a merge.
Yeah.
I think there's I've seen
A
bands.
merge, yeah, a
hip-hop
merge.
bands with live
It can be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. You take a hip hop band with a live drummer, and then we'll have a guitar player. Kendrick Lamar brings a live band with him on stage, even though he's a hip hop guy. He could just use a CDJ, but there's a lot of room in music to kind of merge some of the rock stuff, some of the hip hop stuff, some of the jazz stuff. And I see what you're doing is really interesting, because it sounds like there's orchestral and classical type.
Yes, yeah, no, yeah. I think that this kind of stuff can also be I don't know, something different from the normality, and something more, also something more fun. I mean, for example, in the biggest festival, for example, Tomorrowland, there are always stages for live music, because also the biggest DJs love merge this kind of stuffs, like I don't know, violins or flutes or guitars with their digital records.
Yeah, I've seen, I went to a hip hop show in New York City, and there was a guy on a tenor sax playing with a guy with a CDJ, and like an 808. And so I think there's always a room to merge those things. And, you get bands like Churches. There is like a synth wave, like new age, new wave, new romantic type of band. They're using Junos, they're using 106s. And so there's a lot of people that are kind of bringing back everything. Because I'm a big 80s guy. I'm 50 years old. I grew up in the 80s. So I love New Order and Joy Division and, The Cure. That's kind of where I came from, that kind of synth playing. But today, there's a lot of capability. I mean, I'm looking into getting a Serato system just to DJ my own music, because sometimes there are some places you can't get into as a traditional rock band anymore, and I can't bring my road cases, I can't bring my organs or my Hammonds, so I have to bring a smaller footprint. And so the CDJs are pretty cool. But one thing I started to get into was a teenage engineering in their OP1 and OPZs. If you're into those are kind of cool hardware devices that could be brought into a DJ scenario, because they're so small, and then there's so much power in those devices. I don't know if you've seen them, but there's a lot of capability, and a lot of things have been coming out lately. There's a merging of analog and digital.
Yeah, I think that the mobility now is fundamental for a DJ, and so yes, for example, launch pads are great too for playing live, and playing something
like MPCs, like MPC, Akai MPC type thing. Yeah, MPC type devices from Akai, like launch pads. The ones that have the triggers. Trigger pad devices, alternative MIDI devices that allow you to do your keyboard, MIDI keyboards, but MIDI control, Rollies, Rolly controllers and pad based controllers, like you're saying, like Launchpad and things from MPCs and MPXs that allow you to have a different way. Because electronic music, if you get back to it, when Moog created the Moog, the first synthesizers didn't have keyboards. All they had were sequencers. The first one in the early 50s.
So only sequencers, yeah.
So then so the controlled voltage sequencers, which I have.
We are a little now. It's a little bit easier for us, to create something new.
Yeah, it's a lot easier with a MIDI sequencer than a controlled voltage sequencer. But there's a lot of happy accidents you can do with the old analog controlled voltage equipment that can create a lot of really unique beats. Everybody's always looking for beats, but analog systems can give you beats and that's something I'm always kind of a big proponent of, because they, without a plug-in, an analog synthesizer can give you so many different sounds that they just can continually give you new ways to do things. But let me get out of that. But so when you're producing, do you just use a home studio with your DAW? Do you go into a real recording studio and
No, yeah, okay. Well, we have an hour home studio recording, and we usually start our project in our home. Yes, because we have our own stuff. We have we are in our home, so it's easier, I think, for inspiration. But obviously, for example, for vocal recordings and for the mixing, the masterings, the final parts of our recordings, we use and we go to a professional studio. Yeah. Also with other professional music engineering to finalize the production.
Okay, yeah, because there's some people that use like online mastering.
No, we prefer
real
yes, we prefer not use. I think that online mastering is not good. Yeah, because mastering is a really important part of production. Yeah. So we prefer something that we can touch physically.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I have a lot of my own mastering equipment. Yeah, I have a lot of like analog mixing boards and stuff that I use to kind of do my own initial mastering. But having an engineer that's trained at it is good. But sometimes you can get to be like what you want. If you've got the equipment and you've invested in it over like 20 years, then eventually sometimes you can kind of get to the sound you want because you know what you're trying to do. But a lot of times a recording engineer, that's what they're trained to do. But as you get to be a musician electronically, a lot of guys will go and get their own boards and their own, compression utilities and mics and all these things. But it's just a matter of like how much you want to do it yourself and how much you believe in what you can do compared to like a recording engineer versus a musician is a different talent. And sometimes you musicians will try to take that on, and sometimes maybe it's better for
in fact, we are not really capable of doing a perfect mastering, so we prefer asking for help, for external help.
Yeah. So when you master, do you like to do like analog mastering or digital mastering? It doesn't matter.
I think plug master can put out a more elevator sound, I think. So, well, I actually prefer analog, but I don't know why.
Analog tends to have a lot of warmth and sometimes doesn't compress some of the signals. Because like I use analog synthesizers. And if you take an analog synthesizer and bring it into FL Studio or bring it into any of the DAWs, it will actually clip some of the power of the analog synth. But if you take an analog synth and you put it on a reel-to-reel and you actually record it on tape or you record it on, as a WAV file, and you don't compress it into an MP3 or an MP4 or any kind of compressed file, it tends to keep a lot of its warmth. And so I think a lot of times people who use analog synths don't want to master digitally, because it kind of defeats the purpose of it. But if you're totally in a digital environment and everything you're doing is digital, it probably doesn't matter as much. But even if you have a digital recorded album, but you master it with analog equipment, you can give it a luster that your digital equipment didn't have. And so I think that's kind of like the arguments between, like, if your source instruments are analog, you might sound pretty good when you go to master. If your source stuff is digital, by giving it an analog master, it can actually increase the sound quality.
Yeah, the point. Yeah.
So I think some people will go to the recording engineers that have the analog mastering to kind of boost the quality of their signal or their music. But so have you said you're collaborating with other artists, right? Or you're working with other people?
Yeah, we are actually working with a Venezuelan singer, Elalo Ponte, for one of our projects. And yeah, yeah, she is a singer. So I don't know if the question was about a singer or a, okay.
Well, it doesn't matter. Like anybody, any
Yeah,
musician
but
you
no,
find
I
or
think
with
in general, collabs in general important because you can share and you can exchange personal knowledges with other producers, and so yeah, I think the personal experience is important, and we love this kind of collaboration and this kind of exchanges. But obviously, yeah, we cannot sing, so we
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, you have to bring
we have to
singers in.
work.
So did that change when you bring a singer into like an EDM or DJ type of music? Did that really change the structure of what you would have done if you would just kept it as an instrumental? Like if you keep a song as an instrumental and you don't have vocals, there's like a different structure that you have to it. When you start to bring a vocalist in, did it make you go back and like restructure the song to kind of fit the way a vocalist is going to work?
Well, yes, we think that there's a difference, and the point is that you must work with the singer to find the perfect mixing of your part and obviously the part of the singer. Yeah.
Yeah, the kind of figure, like once you bring a vocal in that has a melody and maybe has a hook and it has like, you know, chorus, like if you have a traditional EDM song with like drops and different things, it might not have that. But once you bring a vocalist in, it starts to kind of go toward a traditional song structure that may be somewhat like you hear in pop music. So I guess my question is like, when you bring a vocalist in, does it change your electronic music to become more like a pop song? Or you try to keep
Okay. No. We just remain in our genre. Yeah, because I think that the vocals can stay in ADM and also in future house music. For example, Don Diablo is the proof that yeah, it can mix together future house music and yeah, pop and vocals. I think that Don Diablo is the best future house producer now, and yeah, he can create everything also with singers, and it's amazing.
So when you're bringing singers, are you bringing in traditional like vocalists that are like pop singers, or people who are like hip hop vocalists or, you know, rap vocalists? What type of vocals are you doing?
Well, what type of vocals are you doing?
Especially future house or also K-pop. Rap, no. Yeah,
K-pop.
K-pop is very interesting.
Yeah, K-pop has a lot of like hooks and melodies that are somewhat like electronica, like a new type of like new wave. But it's very poppy and very kind of bubblegum like from my aspects being a music historian. They have this kind of quirky kind of 1950s thing going on, but it's modern. It's like postmodern, but it's electronic. So I hear a lot of new wave. I hear a lot of like 8-bit kind of video game type of, you know, music going on with some of those songs, and it's just really interesting all the different things that you can do with music. But I'm a big fusion jazz. I love fusion jazz, like Coltrane and Miles Davis and Love Supreme and, you know, Bitches Brew, and I try to bring a lot of that into electronic. My music is more like 9 Inch Nails, more like, you know, Yes, more like Radiohead. And so it's different. It's not exactly where you guys are, but I can appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because
I think in general, for example, personally, I don't know my partner, but personally, I love lots of kind of music, and not only electronic music. True. For example, I also listen classic music, and my partner too.
Yeah.
And
we are Italian. We love also opera music, classic music.
Yeah, so yeah, we can also find some inspiration from that kind of from classical music.
Yeah, I can hear the classical music and some of the songs I listen to on your site. I hear some of the classical influence you were talking about. Yeah, but also I think it's interesting sometimes, like, you know, I've got a punk aesthetic. You know, I like bands like The Replacements, The Clash, and Who's Doing it, and that's kind of like where my Nine Inch Nails kind of feeling comes from. Is like punk rock has this kind of purity and sensibility in it that if you bring like a punk aesthetic into electronic music, you can get very industrial, very powerful use of synthesizers, where you use them kind of in a grunge punk way. And I've always been interested in that because I'm a big fan of that type of music, and I try to bring that into the stuff I'm doing, even if it's electronic. I try to bring that edge. Have you ever looked into that, or you're not interested in that type of kind of like industrial punk edge to electronic
No,
music?
well, personally, I'm not really a big fan of this type of music, but I think that inspiration can come from every type of music. So well, we are open to every type of music. Yeah, and yeah, I love to searching for new styles to find some more stuff.
Yeah, I guess like when you can get, sometimes you can get like analog synthesizers to get very, very powerful in terms of they can kind of have the power that a Jimmy Page or a Hendrix.
Oh yeah.
Or like, you know, they can do a very powerful attack.
Yes.
Some people will use synthesizers and they do it more melodic, or you do atmospheric. They do it in a way that's not like threatening, but they don't do it in a way that, like, you know, like Mick Jones or Strummer did with the Clash. They don't come at it that way. But sometimes it's cool to actually take electronic music and be very aggressive with it. And I guess that's what I'm talking about is, have you ever thought of using, you know, electronic music to be that aggressive? Because sometimes classical music can be that aggressive.
Classical music can be aggressive. For example, we lots of DJs, for example, Tiesto too, remixes Adagio for Strings from Sour Barber, and also Steven Lucas remixes that song in a future house style. And now we are also working on a project to make an acoustic version of these songs. And I think that mixing electronic music with classical music can bring to classical music more aggressiveness, no, and more powerful attacks, as you said. And I think that the commission is a good, can be good. Yes.
Yeah, I think the good combination of, like, I love, you know, like I said, taking jazz and the kind of power of jazz fusion and bringing like jazz fusion into electronic to give it a little bit more, you know, improvisation. Because sometimes people look at electronic music and they get kind of stuck on the structure of an EDM song. Seems kind of like in some ways, sometimes it can be kind of constricting, like disco. There's a certain structure. And like there's the drop, but if you're a jazz musician, you don't necessarily always have structure. And so to me, sometimes there's like a merging of, we can take the structure of electronic music and then also bring in some of the improvisation of jazz, and actually make something new, where maybe it's experimental, and maybe it's not what every club would want to hear, but you're trying to push the genre in a different direction. And so I think it's cool when people like look at different ways of doing it. I like what you're doing with the classical, because you're gonna extend the life of the genre when people don't just keep on doing the same formula, which is cool. It gets you in the clubs and it gets you like hits. But if you want to do something like that's gonna really, you know, push the envelope, then sometimes you have to go beyond that.
Yeah, I think that you work not only for clubs or oh yeah, for festival. You work also for your passion, for
Yeah,
for your love. So I think jazz improvisation in electronic music can be cool, because if you love jazz, you can bring great stuff in
yeah. He could bring some really great
oh yes,
saxophonists.
yes.
He could bring some really great drummers, and then bring in these really industrial techno beats, and then throw all this improvisation on top of it. It extends the genre, and it puts it in a place where you could get into a club in New York City and do something really innovative. You could like play CBGBs, you could go, play the Whiskey a Go Go or something, play something, and you could get a cross audience because you're bringing some of those like progressive rock things in. You're kind of coming at it like a guest or a general audience beyond your genre, and so you could actually, pick up more fans and pick up different people that maybe wouldn't have, EDM show. But if they see some of these other aspects, then they're like, okay, they want to see that. So that's kind of cool. But so, what are your thoughts on the future of music in general, and your type of music, and where you want to be in the next like 4 or 5 years?
Okay, yeah. But I think that we think that music is always changing, and also the EDM scenario is always in changing, and so we don't know really how can it be in 4 or 5 years, but I think now the future house genre in the EDM scenario is increasing its power, because for example, big room and progressive house were leading some years ago, and now deep house, also techno, are raising up. So I think that every year's as a different a different genre that can lead the electronic scenario and the dance scenario. And I think that also that musician, in particularly the musician, must adapt. Probably, the biggest one, the biggest DJs, can do what they want, but I think that the little one as us must sometimes, they must adapt their music, their stuff to the scenario, because it's always in changing.
Yeah, because I mean, it's interesting because I'm a big electronic musician, live musician, like to play keyboards, physical keyboards, but also modular synthesizers. And I think like Euro racks and the increasing capability of like electronic musicians to be able to like create their own synthesizer, like custom synthesizers with like Euro rack modules and modular synths, is creating what I've seen is like a merging of like DJs with like synth wave, trip wave, glitch hop, all these different like subgenres where you're seeing like synthesizer players bringing in these massive Euro racks, kind of like what Deadmau5 does. He uses actually a heavy amount of Euro racks, like of analog synthesizers, to create a lot of his stuff. And you're seeing more and more bands, at least in the States, are using a lot of Moogs, a lot of Euro racks, like Make Noise module and stuff from Arturia. Just a merging of the CGJs with the old synthesizers, or brand new versions of these synthesizers. And it seems like to me, it's like in the future might be more bands using these organic instruments with.
I think that in live performance, it's a good thing to bring something new, and something that can be different from the reputation of, as you said, the reputation of the electronic music that is repetitive in a way. So
Yeah. So bringing the Eurorack, what the difference is with the analog synths, you bring sounds that are custom, that aren't just coming from plugins, that people actually hand built their own sounds, from these modular analog synths. And so what that does is it allows people to bring their own character and sounds to the table, and sounds that you can't get from a plugin, sounds that are built from scratch from modular gear and old analog synthesizers. So what that does is it brings the possibility of new sounds being brought to the table, that aren't like part of the normal scene. And so it allows people to create totally new things. And I think that's where a lot of things in the future is a combination of that with the digital stuff. But being able to bring that stuff to the table, I think, is really going to, show a lot of people like a forward vision.
Yeah, I think
from the
that,
past.
you can also engage more the people with this kind of stuff, and you can bring them also on the stage too, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, because then you have people actually watching. If you ever saw Keith Emerson, Keith Emerson was one of the great synthesizer players. He's big proponent of the Moog, and he had these big modular synthesizers on stage for Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And that was the beginning of like the electronic music. And there's still a lot of people in Europe and Asia that use these Euroracks, but it's a stage performance in itself to have like a Eurorack modular synthesizer on stage and use it to create beats. And it's kind of like you do things like stream of consciousness, you do things that kind of off the cuff. It brings a jazz element to electronic music, because every time you perform with these, it's not exactly going to be the same. It's not going to always be the same structure. And so I think being able to bring those things into the future of electronic music, the stability of a CDJ and be able to do the same thing all the time is cool. But I think as a musician, you probably want to go toward things that allow you to have improvisation and variability, and just being able to express yourself at that moment, like a guitar player or a piano player can. So I think that's where things, in my opinion, where things are going to go, is where you can have that individuality as an artist and bring that on the stage.
I totally agree with this statement, because you can also connect with the public in a different way if you can bring some improvisation or something different with a guitar or a keyboard live in your show.
Yeah, I think because people go back and forth in stages, and I think there's going to be a coming back of like the singer, songwriter, producer, creator that can bring all those things to the table with the modern tools. And part of the modern tool bag is you can bring a Moog on stage, you can bring a Prophet on stage, you can bring a Eurorack on stage, and then you can perform, like the way Yes did, but in a different way. You can perform like the way Genesis did, but in a more modern way of doing it, and just bring those tools on stage and just use them a different way. So what I hear in your music, and I can see you using those kind of things in the future to do what I hear already. And it would then sound in a different way, and it would have a very powerful presence. But I hear what you're doing already has some aspects of that, but you're doing it from your production. But I can see that in the fact that you can play too. I look forward to what you do going forward on your projects, and want to listen to what you have. And what I'll do with this podcast is we publish on all the platforms. There's like 11 platforms that this comes out on, and we can put hyperlinks on the Apple version and the Anchor version. So we'll put a link to your main page where your music is.
It's perfect.
So people will be able to hear your music when they click on the Apple version and the TuneCore, the actual Anchor version of it. It's going to go out to multiple platforms. I'm going to have it out there later tonight. I'll send you the links. And when your project is done, if you're going to put it out on Spotify,
we'll publish it on Spotify, Apple Music. another platform. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have to speak about the releasing with the label. So yeah,
That's cool. But when
okay.
you're ready, when you actually have that, then we can
Okay.
we could have
Yeah,
another call,
fantastic,
and
yeah.
Thank you so much.
we can push it. And so we'll put it out there. We'll do another call when you have an actual physical release. But for now, we'll connect to your social media from your main site, and then we'll put
Yes,
it out.
perfect. Yeah, for us it's perfect, and thank you very much, because we are just started. So if we can if we
That's
can
great.
speak with other, and also with in podcast, it's fantastic for us. Yes.
Yeah, well, we like to give artists a chance to talk about their craft. That's what we've been doing. We've been doing it for about 2 years, and we talk to all different types of artists. You know, from guys like you, like DJs and electronic musicians, to punk rockers, to like Billboard top 10 singers like Kendra Erica in the U.S. But yeah, we like to talk to all different types of level artists and allow them to talk about their music, which is what we like to do the most.
For us, it's
But yeah, in the future,
a great opportunity. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So when you have your release, get in touch with us, and we'll do another show. And if you have tour dates or anything that you want to promote, let us know.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so
Perfect.
Thank you. So we were just talking to Black and White Tuxedos from Italy, and they got a bunch of projects that will be coming forth. And is most of your stuff going to come out in 2019? You foresee having your stuff released this year?
Sorry, what?
Is there new material?
Yeah. This we open March or April, so yeah.
Okay, so around March and April this year, Black and White Tuxedos are going to have brand new material, probably on all the streaming services. We'll get in touch with you again to talk about it in depth.
Yes,
when
perfect.
You're ready to release.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. Look for the next time. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much.
This is Bam Electric Ghost, and our latest album, The Flower That Blooms at Midnight in the Tomb, featuring the track Lollipop All Day Sucker, is available on all streaming services, including Amazon, Tidal, Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube Red, and many, many more. So check us out. The Lollipop video is on YouTube. All these, that's the first track on the album. So check out Fam Electric Ghost, The Flower That Blooms at Midnight in the Tomb, available now on all streaming services.